Good day. Introduction to the Juta Online Legal Reference Research Platform continues. This morning we will look at the Act search template, regulations under the Act, as well as legislation judicially considered now built into the system. I will now log on to the platform and we will take a look around. With the platform now launched, I'm going to make my way through to the top left-hand corner where I will click the drop-down menu and select the Act search template. Once the template loads, it pre-selects statutes, VETA, and regulations. At this point, I will input an Act name. I also have the option to input the Act number, year, and section. The system will look for current legislation as well as repealed or amended legislation. You could turn off the repealed section if you don't need it. You can also select Afrikaans if the legislation is available in Afrikaans. For this exercise, I'm going to open up the Criminal Procedure Act. And what I've done is I've input Act number and year, but I'm leaving section blank. When I click search, the system will go and find the full Act. Results returned, Criminal Procedure Act, linking through to the Act based on the path. And the second link here links through to the regulations under this Act. I will now click onto the link to the Criminal Procedure Act, which loads for me a preamble to the Act. Every Act will load as in this format. I have the option to click View Full Act. Provisions under the Act are listed. The amendments table follows that. And below the amendments table, I have a link to regulations under this Act. When I click the regulations under this Act, it will display for me the regulation name plus a link to the various regulations. I can then go and select a regulation I'm interested in viewing, for example, the expungement of criminal records. When I click onto this link, it will display for me a definition of the regulation. Built into the program now, I have a View Full Notice button. Once I click that, it will load the full notice for me into the main window. Once loaded, I will have the option to either print the notice or export the notice as demonstrated in the print and export function, and my full notice with all its forms and schedules are loaded here. I will quickly link back to the Act from here. By doing that, it'll take me back onto the Act. When I click onto my View Full Act link within the Act, it will load for me the full Act onto the system and again give me the option to either print the full Act or export the full Act, and I can then download the full Act onto my computer. Built into the program now as well is a link just under the amendments table next to our regulations is legislation judicially considered. Once I click that link, it will load for me case law pertaining to the Criminal Procedure Act by section of the Act. The first couple of cases here considered the entire Act. As I scroll down, it breaks down into section 1, section 2, etc. These links will link me through to extracts of the cases, and once called up, I can view the extract, and if I wish to view the full case, I can then take the case name, plug it into my law report search template, and I can then call up the full case. Thank you for watching. Be sure to go through our training video series and discover more research tips.